the Alex Belfield In Conversation podcast with daisymedia.co.uk.
Alex Belfield.
I've got three guys in from one of my favourite bands of all time, the Drifters. We've got three top men. We've got Patrick, Peter and Victor. Evening to you all.
How you doing, Alex?
How you doing? It's really great to talk to you because you're on the road at the minute, bringing great uplifting music back to the people. And God, we need it right now, don't we?
Yes,
Right, let's start at the beginning. Patrick, you're from LA. Well, welcome to Britain, first of all. It must be a bit odd for you, being out later than about 9 o'clock at night. People in LA go to bed about 7, don't they?
Yeah, well, the clubs close early in LA. But see, the people, everyone thinks that Los Angeles is wild. It's not. It's trendy. New York is wild. That's where you want to go if you're wild, New York.
What is it about LA then? I mean, is it just this obsession with fitness and looking great and being in bed early and detoxing? Or why do they live that lifestyle opposed to the New York lifestyle?
Well, because I think everybody's in show business. And, if you do one, everybody says, why does everybody in LA have a nice apartment and a nice car and they seem to not have a job? That's because they do 1 or 2 national commercials a year, and they make $30,000 to $60,000 for each commercial, and they just chill out the rest of the year. So they go to the beach, they go surfing, they hang out.
Yeah, that's the life, isn't it? All right, next on the list we've got Peter, who's from New York, my favourite city in the world. Hello, Peter.
How you doing?
I'm really good, thank you, and all the better for talking to you because, well, everything's in New York, really, isn't it? I mean, it's like London on cocaine.
More like crack. Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Anything you want at any given hour of the day or night, you can get it there.
And finally, Victor, and you're not from LA or New York.
No, not, no.
Where are you from?
Born in Shepherd's Bush.
So let's go down the line. We've got LA, New York, and Shepherd's Bush.
That's rougher than New York and LA combined.
That's true. I can take you to some homies that can match the New Yorkers.
It just doesn't have the same ring, does it?
I know.
Guys, you've had such amazing careers, and you're jobbing musicians, basically, that are just great at what you do, and that's why you're now with the Drifters touring this show. Let's just go down the line again and talk about some of the things you've done. Victor, who have you worked with and what have you done and who have you toured with?
I've been on shows with Bob Geldof, and who else? And Cilla Black.
Well, there's nothing wrong with Cilla.
Cilla's cool. That was before the Drifters. But I've done lots of work in studios, a lot of session work, as well as I've done my own productions, and I've done a lot of shows in theaters, etc.
Eurovision Song Contest.
Yeah, okay. I wasn't going to put that in, but yes, I have sung for my country.
Go on, which one was
something
it?
for England. It was the year 2000 with Nikki French.
Oh, yeah.
We came, I think it was 14th.
Well, that's good by our standards.
It was cool. The song was don't play that song again, and they didn't. And but it was a cool song, I must admit. It was a nice song.
There's a good moral there in show business. Be careful what you ask for; it might come true.
That's true. But Nikki's a great friend, and we had a great time. That was fantastic. It was good to do something for your country. It was nice feeling.
Absolutely, Peter. What have you done in the past?
Well, I grew up with music. Both my parents were musicians, so I kind of grew up around Motown and all of that stuff. But having done stuff of my own, I've had a lot of bands that I've put together, and in some of those bands, we've toured Japan and Hong Kong and the Far East and places like that. And then I've worked. I also lived in LA for a time as well, and I worked with people like Benjamin Wright, who was a producer and bass player for MCA Records at that time. I've worked with the Gap Band, Charlie Wilson, Robert, and Ronnie. Anyway, work with those guys. Work with guys like Chucky Booker, and who was Janet Jackson's MD for a while. And so I've done some stuff like that, and before getting the call to come join the Drifters.
Okay, and finally, Patrick, from LA, what have you been up to?
Well, I started off as a dancer with Michael Jackson and Janet Jackson and stuff like that, and did all the TV shows and the Grammys and the American Music Awards as a dancer, and danced with Whitney Houston and people. And then I was over here with the girl Kat from Prince when the Drifters discovered me singing at an open mic here in London, which I thought was very strange. And And the funny story is like Pete and myself, we didn't know they really had a career over here, in the 70s, because all the hits over here in the 70s and Europe and England weren't hits in America. So when they asked me to do the show, the first day of rehearsal, it was like 10 songs I'd never heard of. I was like, okay. And I used to choreograph the Mickey Mouse Club, and right before I came to England, the Mickey Mouse Club had just done it like a tribute to the Drifters. All the kids in the show did Under the Boardwalk, Up on the Roof, and all these Drifters songs. And I thought, that was meant to be, right? And also I did a show called Smokey Joe's Cafe where we sing all these Drifters songs from the 50s, which I didn't know. I mean, because, a lot of the Drifters tunes were covered by Elvis Presley and other groups. And I actually worked with Lieber and Stoller, who wrote all those songs, and I just couldn't believe that the Drifters did, Fools Fall in Love and these different songs. And so I learned all those songs. So after Johnny Moore passed away, they asked me to come back. And I thought that's a great honor because I knew all those songs from the 50s. And but that's how I got in the group, yeah.
Presumably, it's just a party. You're able to just get on stage every night, play great songs, sing them as loud as you can, and everybody just enjoys themselves, Victor.
When you put it like that, it sounds cool. That sounds like it is, yeah.
That's the American attitude.
Well, it should be, shouldn't it? I mean, it amazes me when you go and see these shows and they take themselves terribly seriously.
Yeah.
I think when we're spending the kind of money we do to go and see guys like yourself, you actually just want to have a good time ultimately. And I think if you're having a good time, we'll have a good time.
Oh, we definitely have a good time on stage.
Yeah, we're 4 idiots on stage, aren't we?
No, you don't.
Oh yeah.
We have a blast.
Well, no, you hit it on the head. You hit it on the head when you say, you spend your hard-earned money to go see a show. And then you got a bunch of guys on stage that are just so serious.
Too serious.
And they almost look like they don't want to be there.
Yeah,
so,
yeah, that's true.
Then you have to think, well, I'm giving you my money. The least you can do is smile. At least once. It won't crack your face. So our whole attitude is, if we're not having a good time, we can't expect anybody else to have a good time.
I was so disillusioned when I went to see a guy called and I won't name him on air, but he comes on stage and he doesn't say hello. He sings every song without talking in between and doesn't say goodbye at the end, and he does his last song and walks off. I just think that's damn rude, to be honest. If you spent 50 quid on a ticket.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't understand. I mean, maybe that's about his issues, but to me, show business is about bringing people in.
It's show, pizzazz. It's doing it, yeah. If you haven't got that in your show, then I'm sorry, you might as well stay at home. I'd rather stay at home and play the records.
And I might as well save 50 quid and just play the record.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go.
I'm really insistent on that, because when you have to do West End Broadway shows and stuff like I've done, as Vic knows, then you do have to have a certain etiquette on stage. You don't say hello. You have to follow the director's direction.
Yeah,
but when you're a rock band who people are paying to come see you, they want to feel as if they're in your living room. You know what I mean? As if you have to make them feel like they're part of it. You know what I mean? And it's all about having a good time. I get to sing for a living, right? And we do 150 shows a year, but every other day I have off of the year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And when I work, I work at 8 o'clock at night for 2 hours. You know what I mean? I'm having a good time.
Yeah.
I lived in Europe. I've lived in Asia. I've lived, here, everywhere. And I'm just having a blast. I'm on vacation as far as I'm concerned.
A few things about this show.
It's time you start doing some work, because we tired of you lazy butt just sitting around doing
That's
nothing.
what it is.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Oh.
He confessed on national radio. I'm glad you people are hearing this. Patrick Allen, 2 hours a day. The rest of us are working up at 7 o'clock in the morning. He shows up at 8 o'clock at night for 2 hours, and he's on vacation. La-dee-da, let's go to the Bahamas.
And I bet you're still claiming benefits, aren't you?
Yeah. This is where your tax dollars is going, Britain.
How fun are these songs to sing? Because I know there are some shows, some musicals, for example, like Smokey Joe's you mentioned earlier, I saw. They were all good songs to sing. There are some shows in the West End I would not choose to be in, no matter how much they offered me to be in it, because the songs, quite frankly, are crap. I mean, who wants to go on every night singing, hey, hey, chitty, chitty, bang, bang, chitty, chitty, bang, bang? I mean, that's got to...
I like that song.
I'm sorry.
That's one of my favorite movies.
I'm sorry. I like that.
I do, too. That's it.
I'm sorry.
You, chitty, chitty, bang, bang, chitty, bang, bang, we love
love you.
And chitty bang bang, chitty bang bang, we love you. Hi chitty go chitty, everywhere we go chitty, bang 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 bang, bang bang chitty chitty bang bang. Our 5-4 friend, bang bang chitty chitty bang bang. Our 5-4 friend. That's right, and the Drifters did it, and we're proud of it.
Something without voting there, man. I'm sorry.
I think I'm wrong.
Aren't you sorry you asked us here now?
We're here with the Drifters. We're here with Patrick, Peter, and Victor. And the point I was trying to make before I was rudely interrupted by you all bursting into song. The point I was trying to make was, are these good songs that you're singing every night?
Yeah, they're great
Certainly.
songs, classics with hooks that you can't get out of your head, you know. And we have kids. The great thing about the UK is you're so nostalgic. So parents bring their kids, and their kids know the lyrics better than we do.
Yeah.
You know, we're just like, what? You're like 4 years old.
Again, Patrick's on vacation. Remember, he hasn't really learned the lyrics, so yeah, that's why.
What is life like on the road for you guys? I mean, you're three strapping superstars of men.
Well, thank you.
You're
You ain't
deeply.
so bad yourself, Alex.
That's a whole different group.
Don't go there.
You'll be touring with Culture Club next year. And
Vic's a construction worker.
well, the policeman from YMCA was arrested last week, so.
Was it really? Oh, there you go. There you go.
The thing is, I mean, you're on the road, you've got all these women throwing themselves at you. I mean, I'm deeply unattractive, ginger hair and slightly overweight with a very small penis. I mean,
Can you say that?
Oh, absolutely. And on my last show.
show.
And the thing is, you see, I'm not going to get any ladies, but I mean, you're on the road. What is it like being superstars and having the ladies throw themselves at you?
We don't know. We honestly don't know. That's never happened to us. It's
Yeah, right.
the one that it has happened to is not here. Right. So, you know.
Well, look, I've heard stories, and it has happened to Peter. Okay, so
The thing is, we have to take everything with a grain of salt because management pulls us right off stage and puts us in the van and sends us away.
I'm not suggesting you have sex on stage or anything. You know, I'm not.
this could be arranged.
I'm not saying this is your encore. I mean, you don't do it for your finale. Are you enjoying touring? I mean, I get the feeling you are.
Yeah.
We have fun. We do have fun. We do.
Yeah,
It's
blast.
fantastic.
How does it work? You all turn up in one place one day. You're picked up by a bus and taken, and then brought back. How does it work?
Yeah,
that's
pretty
it.
much. Yeah, we all meet and
As soon as we get in the van, we go to sleep.
So we travel in a people carrier, one of these big. It was a Chevy thing.
no. It's a
What is it?
Chrysler.
It's a Chrysler Grand Voyager, and we have a meeting place. We're picked up the four of us and plus our tour manager, and then we're off to wherever we're going, and we do what we have to do, and then we're back in the van, and we go to the next one, and until it's time to come back and get dropped off at home.
And simultaneously, the band is doing their pickup and taking all the equipment up, and the PA company's going up.
Patrick, at the beginning, you mentioned something that I have to pick up on and ask you about, if you don't mind, was that you worked with Jackson, both his sister and Michael, of course. First of all, what are the Jacksons like as people?
They're pretty, they're awesome people. They're outgoing, they're loving, they're considerate. They don't forget your name. As you know, Janet becomes great friends with all of her dancers. So does Michael. I mean, Michael has a lot of red tape between management, and his dancers or his people. But Michael's cool. He's obnoxious. He's not feminine. And when he's around like Bill Bray and some of his friends, I mean, they're just like any group of guys you'd ever want to see.
Is he misunderstood? I mean, is it all a fallacy, the stuff we read about him? Is it distressing to you that the press have perpetuated this image of him?
Yeah, I mean, that's why he won both of those cases. Michael Jackson, I think he's been misunderstood for years. Like Seth Riggs is his vocal coach, and Seth Riggs tells everyone from Barbra Streisand to you name it, whoever he coaches, to talk like this, to talk breathy, because Michael does 40 interviews in one day, so he talks this way, and people used to think he was talking like a girl, and he wasn't, and that's how he talks when he does interviews. And for the first 6 weeks of rehearsals, it was just the dancers and Michael, 18 of us with Michael. And then as soon as production came in, there was 500 people on the set. There was the film crew, first unit, second unit. There was a documentary crew. Every day there was a new grade school on the set. Every day there was at least 2 kids on their dying beds. I mean, literally about to pass, right? Their dying wish was to see Michael. So every day there were 2 new kids. Every day there was Elizabeth Taylor or Robert De Niro on the set with their security. I mean, it's mayhem. So from the very first day of filming, Michael had 18 bodyguards. And we were like, wow, it was completely different from the 6 weeks prior to that. And Michael's in court 40 days a year. And that's 40 different cases. And those are the days that he has to be there. The rest of the time it's his attorneys that are in court, right? So, everybody's always trying to sue him, and they're trying to say he stole their ideals, and it's just...
Is there any way back for him now? I mean, Letterman and Leno spend all their careers doing jokes about him and further destroying his reputation, if you like, through jokes. I've done them myself. I put my hands up. Is there any way back for him, do you think, now?
Yeah, I think there's a credible route for him to come back. I mean, I've heard some stuff that he's recorded for this new album. If he can ever emotionally recover, he's got some really good stuff he's done for this next album, if it ever comes out. And I think he might have the sympathetic vote now, and it might be able to put him back on top,
The fact is, Michael Jackson has been offered a lot of money, just like Celine Dion has, to do a show in Vegas. That would be a stepping stone for him to come back, because he would clean up. He would literally clean up. People are waiting to see him back on stage. That's where he belongs. That's where he belongs. That's where he is best. That's where he's at home.
Yeah.
All this other stuff, that Patrick is talking about, the court cases and all that, that's what happens when you grow up in a bubble.
Comes with the territory.
It doesn't come with the territory, but that's what happens when you grow up in a bubble. Somebody's always going to try and take a piece of you.
Yeah.
And it's not just Michael, it's everybody. I mean, everybody is a target.
I think, though, for a bit of balance, he did make a few silly mistakes by saying things like, I sleep in bed with kids, which can be misinterpreted, can't it?
The only thing Michael was guilty of was bad judgment. And like the Elvis Presley syndrome. You have a bunch of people that work for you, that are around you, but they don't know how to say no to you.
Exactly.
And, if you hear the word yes every day for 30 years, you're going to think you're invincible. And I think that's what Michael did. He's guilty of bad judgment. That's it. That's all.
You didn't see the Celine Dion show in Vegas, did you?
I did, yeah.
No.
I did.
2 of the most miserable hours of my life watching it. Oh, it was horrible.
I think she
I like
kind of...
the Frank Sinatra thing.
She did very well.
Frank on the screen.
Oh, really? At the Palladium? Oh, dreadful. I got 8 pensioners snoring around me, seriously, when I went to see that the other week. Honestly, I went to a Wednesday matinee and I just got old farts snoring all the way around me.
Now, how did they do that? We all know that Frank is gone.
Well, yeah, but Patrick liked it. But to me, the idea of putting a dead man on a screen, singing live to a live band, as if he's there but he's dead, and he's too big for all that to me. But you liked it.
Natalie Cole with her dad. I thought that was great too.
Really?
Yeah, but they didn't take that show. That was a video. They didn't take that to a theater.
Well, we've put show business to right, if nothing else. Guys, it's fascinating to talk to you. The reason I like you guys, people like you coming in on my show, is because you're not wannabes, you're not X Factor contestants, you're not people who try and fail. You work hard every day to maintain what you've achieved so far, and it's always going to be a struggle. You're never going to have multi-million-pound contracts like so many have for no reason, but every night you go out, you perform brilliantly, you've got great voices, and I can't say enough good things about you, because I so admire your ability to just go out there and do it every night for the love of it, and not for anything else, not for the fame or for the money, just because you love it. And I just admire that passion. So thank you for coming in.
The Alex Belfield In Conversation podcast with daisymedia.co.uk.